I used to tell myself I wasn't the cheating type. I would hear stories about women who risked everything for some fling and think, that would never be me. I thought I was too smart, too loyal, too in love. But now, sitting alone in an apartment that feels like a crime scene of my own making, I know better. My husband, Michael, was the kind of man you brag about. He wasn't flashy, he didn't have the kind of Instagram profile that screamed look at me, but he had consistency. A stable job, patience that could outlast storms, and a smile that softened the hardest days. For the first 5 years of our marriage, I felt like I'd won the lottery. But then comfort started to feel like routine. Routine started to feel like boredom. And boredom, well, that became dangerous. It started small. A coworker named Lucas. He was everything Michael wasn't: spontaneous, charming, a little reckless. The kind of guy who could talk his way out of a parking ticket or get us into a bar with a wink at the bouncer. At first it was harmless. Inside jokes at work, long lunches, texts about TV shows we both liked. But soon the texts turned into late-night messages, then calls, and then an invitation I should have refused. Just drinks, he said. It doesn't have to mean anything, but it did. 1 drink turned into 3. 3 turned into his hand on my knee. His hand on my knee turned into me following him back to his apartment, whispering excuses in my head so I wouldn't have to call it what it was: betrayal. The next morning, I stared at myself in the mirror, disgusted and terrified. I promised myself it was a one-time mistake. But then it happened again. And again. Until the promises I made to myself carried less weight than the texts lighting up my phone at midnight. Here's the part that still makes me sick. While I was sneaking around with Lucas, Michael was planning date nights. He would come home with flowers. He'd suggest dinner at my favorite Italian place, even after a 12-hour shift. He'd book weekend getaways, saying we needed time just for us. He was trying to bring us closer, while I was actively pushing us apart. I told myself I deserved both. Stability at home and excitement on the side. Michael's devotion and Lucas's fire. It was the worst kind of greed, wanting it all without giving all of myself to either man. And Michael, a sweet, devoted Michael, never suspected a thing. At least, not at first. One night, after Lucas had canceled on me last minute, I came home irritated. Michael was in the kitchen, stirring pasta sauce, wearing the apron I'd bought him as a joke. He kissed me on the cheek and said, "I thought we could eat in tonight. Just the two of us." I snapped at him. Something cruel about how pasta wasn't real cooking, about how he never did anything exciting. I'll never forget the look on his face: confusion, hurt, but still calm. "I thought you liked this," he said softly. I mumbled an apology, but the damage was done. That night he held me in bed like he always did, and all I could think about was how safe he felt. And how I was destroying that safety piece by piece. Months passed like that. Lucas would use me when it was convenient for him. Always late nights, always behind closed doors. No dinners, no dates, no romance. Just stolen hours. And Michael, oblivious, kept trying. He planned a surprise trip for our anniversary. He left notes in my purse. He even suggested starting a family. That was the moment I realized how deep I was in. Michael wanted forever. I was giving him half my heart while handing the other half to someone who didn't even want it. And then it happened. A Saturday morning. Michael suggested brunch at a new place downtown. I agreed, half distracted by a text from Lucas asking if I could slip away later. I thought I was being clever, juggling lies like a professional. But when we came home, everything unraveled. There was an envelope on the coffee table. Thick, official. My stomach dropped before I even opened it. Inside were divorce papers. My name, his name, the words irretrievable breakdown of marriage. I spun around. Michael was standing in the doorway, arms crossed, eyes darker than I'd ever seen them. "You think I didn't know?" he asked. His voice was calm. Too calm. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. "I knew for months," he continued. "I just wanted to see if you'd tell me. If you'd give me the truth. But you didn't. You let me plan dinners. You let me hold your hand. You let me be the fool." Tears blurred my vision. "Michael, please, it was a mistake. I can stop. We can fix this." He shook his head. "You don't make the same mistake dozens of times. You make a choice. And you chose him. So now I'm choosing me. That night, he packed a bag.
No yelling. No smashing plats.
No begging me to change. Just quiet finality. You'll hear from my lawyer, he said and walked out the door. I stood there in the silence, surrounded by all the little pieces of the life we'd built. Our framed vacation photos, the coffee mugs we picked out together, the throw blanket we fought over in the store. Suddenly, they all looked like evidence in a trial where I was guilty of everything. The fallout was brutal. Lucas ghosted me within days. He wasn't interested in being anything more than the secret. Without the thrill of sneaking around, I had nothing left with him. My friends took sides. Most of them his. They said things like, Michael was too good for you anyway, or, what did you expect? Even my own sister stopped returning my calls. And Michael? He disappeared like I'd never existed. Changed his number. Blocked me on social media. Word spread that he'd already moved out of town, closer to his family. A clean slate. Now, months later, I sit in this apartment that used to be ours, surrounded by the silence he left behind. The divorce is finalized. The ring sits in a drawer because I can't bring myself to pawn it, but I can't bear to look at it either. Sometimes I scroll through old photos of us. Him laughing at the beach, me leaning against his shoulder at a concert. I wonder if he ever looks back at those moments or if he's buried them, the way he buried me. I thought I could balance two lives. I thought I could be loved by two men without losing myself. Instead, I lost everything. Because the truth is, Michael wasn't boring. He wasn't predictable. He was loyal. And loyalty doesn't shine like fireworks. It burns like a steady flame. Until someone like me smothers it. And now, the man who once held my hand through every storm won't even look me in the eye. He took me on dates while I was betraying him. He kissed me goodnight while I was sneaking around. He loved me with everything he had. And in the end, he gave me the only gift I deserved, a door closing quietly behind him.